You have a playlist you've never told anyone about. Lo-fi beats, old cartoon themes, songs from movies you watched on VHS at your grandma's house, even though you weren't born yet when they came out. You also have a folder full of photos run through a grain filter to look like a disposable camera in 1994. You're probably in your early 20s and you genuinely, deeply miss a decade you did not live through, and you're not alone in this. You've seen it, Y2K fashion coming back on TikTok, people hunting down Game Boys and Tamagotchis at garage sales like artifacts from a lost civilization, entire Instagram accounts dedicated to the 90s suburban bedroom aesthetic, the lava lamp, the bead curtain, the transparent iMac, the glow-in-the-dark stars, and the number of Gen Z kids who will defend Smashing Pumpkins or early Mariah Carey with their whole chest. Kids who were literally not breathing when those albums dropped. There's no single clean answer for why this happens, but I think it points to something bigger than aesthetic taste, something about what it actually feels like to be alive right now. It reminds me of a perspective I shared recently regarding actor Tom Hardy. Hardy once famously warned that being alone is a dangerous thing because it is so addictive. He pointed out that once you realize how peaceful isolation can be, you stop wanting to deal with people because they take up so much of your energy. But for a generation raised online, that peaceful version of being alone is almost impossible to find. Our isolation today isn't quiet, it's filled with the noise of other people's lives through a screen. This anemoia we're feeling, this intense longing for the 90s, might actually be a functional coping mechanism for the very isolation Hardy described. We aren't just looking for baggy jeans, we are looking for the exit to a world that won't let us be truly, peacefully alone. Chapter 1. The Anatomy of Anemoia. There's this word, Anemoia. It's not even a real dictionary word. It came from an online project called the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, and it means nostalgia for a time you've never known. The second you learned that word, you probably felt like someone had finally named something you'd been carrying for years. The 90s feel like the last decade that was genuinely unhurried. You couldn't be reached at all times. You couldn't be tracked. If your friends were already at the mall, too bad. You just showed up to things. Life had this texture of improvisation that feels almost impossible now. And when you look back through the movies, the music videos, the old VHS footage, you see something that feels like air, like actual breathing room. And you grieve it, not because you lost it, but because you suspect you never really got it to begin with. Chapter 2. The Mythological Saturday. Maybe your mum used to describe her Saturday mornings in the early 90s, and you always listened like she was talking about a mythological place. She'd wake up, no alarm, pour cereal, sit 2 feet from the TV and watch cartoons for 4 hours. Nobody texted her, nobody needed anything. The day was just open, like a field. And at some point she'd wander outside and exist in the neighborhood, come home when it brought dark. Nobody's pretending the 90s were perfect, but that specific quality, unscheduled time, existing without documentation, without an audience, hits different when you grew up in a world where even your leisure gets performed for other people online. You can't remember the last morning that wasn't shaped by your phone, and there's a real grief in that. Not dramatic, just this quiet low hum of, I wonder what it would have felt like. Chapter 3. The Finished World. Here's the thing about the 90s that doesn't get talked about enough. Everything from that era that still exists, the movies, the music, the object, they have this quality of feeling finished, like they were made by someone who was fully present. There's no algorithmic fingerprint on a Nirvana record. Kurt Cobain wasn't optimizing for engagement. The people who made The Lion King weren't A/B testing the ending. Chapter 4. Colonizing attention. The 90s had plenty of cynical commercial garbage too, that's fair, but even the commercial stuff wasn't optimizing for your attention specifically. It was trying to sell you a product. That's manipulative, sure, but it's a transaction with a clear endpoint. You bought the Happy Meal toy and it was done with you. Modern media doesn't want to sell you something and let you go. It wants to keep you inside it indefinitely. The goal isn't your money, it's your time, your emotional state, your next click. That's a fundamentally different relationship, and somewhere in your nervous system you can feel that difference even when you can't name it. Going back to a 90s movie feels like stepping into a room where nobody wants anything from you, not because everything made then was art, but because nothing made then was designed to colonize your attention permanently. What you might actually be saying is, I want to exist in something that wasn't made to use me. Chapter 5. The Architecture of the Algorithm. This is the first generation raised entirely inside the architecture of the algorithm. From middle school onward, your identity wasn't something you discovered privately, it became something you curated publicly. Every interest became a profile, every memory became content, every joke was potentially permanent. Even your nostalgia arrives pre-packaged. Spotify generates playlists called core memories. TikTok manufactures aesthetics faster than anyone can emotionally process them. You don't slowly drift into interests anymore. The algorithm assigns you one by Thursday afternoon. After enough years of that, the 90s start to feel less like a decade and more like the last known location of authenticity.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A lot of Gen Z didn't just discover the 90s through TikTok, they inherited it through parents who described their teenage years like a different planet, through half-erased home videos where everyone looks relaxed in a way that's hard to explain. The people who shaped you carried that era inside them, and some of it transferred, like homesickness for a place your family left before you were born. That's what Anemoia really is, not simple envy, not aesthetic preference, it's inherited longing. Chapter 6. Permission to be human. The version of the 90s people miss probably never fully existed. This isn't about historical accuracy, it's about emotional symbolism. The 90s became a container for everything modern life feels like it's missing: privacy, slowness, imperfection, presence, mystery. Back then, you could lose touch with someone forever. Now, people from third grade can still watch your Instagram stories. Memory used to fade naturally. Now it gets archived endlessly. Nothing disappears anymore, which sounds comforting until you realize forgetting was always part of being human. So when Gen Z mourn the 90s, they're not just mourning a decade, they're mourning the possibility of a different relationship with time, one where boredom still existed, one where identity had room to evolve privately, one where not every beautiful moment immediately transformed into proof that it happened. Every time you leave your phone behind for an hour, every time you experience something without documenting it, every time you choose presence over performance, you're touching exactly the thing you thought only existed in the past. The 90s aren't haunting Gen Z because they want to go backwards, they're haunting Gen Z because they want permission to feel human again.